Good morning. It is time for Meals with Melissa. And, it's kind of funny because sometimes, I'm even going up until the very last minute, not knowing what I'm going to do. And my daughter just happened to have made these amazing almond flour biscuits. So I don't know why it is. I always have that back cupboard open when I start. I think it's my kids. So closing that for a second. All right. So let me really quickly, I just want to talk to you a little bit about carbs. It's very interesting. You know me, I do some massive research, partially because I just find it fascinating. I was not exactly great at science in high school, but I think it's just because I didn't have a practical application for it. And now that I find the body fascinating, and I find it even more fascinating to see how it responds to changing in nutrition and how, because they really don't teach us the right information. They don't teach it to us in high school. They don't say, here's how you have a healthy lifestyle. So if you don't grow up with that, if your parents don't teach it to you, you have to kind of figure it out yourself. So at about age 33, 34, I'm gonna be 44 in 2 weeks. I started to learn some new things about how nutrition works. Now in my household, everything that I started doing about 10-ish or so years ago, now has kind of trickled down into my family. So we tend to eat, for the most part, pretty healthy. And what that means for us is we eat a lot less carbs, and especially we don't do a whole lot of simple carbs. We kind of save that for, a cheat meal or for a celebration, but we don't bring a whole lot of that into the household. Now, I'm not saying that we don't eat carbs, because I think carbs have their place. They're very important. And when you eat a complex carb, of course, it comes with a lot of nutrients and vitamins and minerals that we need. And that's why I'm not an extremely huge fan of keto and cutting out carbs totally. I just believe in cutting out the crap, right? The processed food, the refined sugar, that's kind of the direction that we go. So what I'm making today is a little more along the ways, the lines of low carb. It's not carb less, it is sugar free, but it is definitely a healthier version of something in my house that we really, really love. We spent a lot of years, I spent a lot of years thinking that Red Lobster was healthy because it's seafood, right? Don't believe that. Haven't been to Red Lobster in years at this point, but we were all really a big fan of their biscuits. So when my daughter first made these yesterday, I went, oh my gosh, that tastes a lot like those biscuits. Now we've omitted the cheese today, not saying that you couldn't. You could actually add the cheese, especially if it fits your macros, if you're doing a little bit low carb, higher fat diet. I do throw some cheese into my meal plan when I am working a little lower carb. Now let me tell you guys, these taste awesome. Now I cannot remember, it's like healthyrecipesblog.com or something like that. I will put the information down below, including the recipe. I've been a little bit better about that lately. But here's how they look. We did add a little bit of garlic salt to it, just because my house, we love garlic. As long as we all eat it, it's cool, right? But they turn out interesting. And they actually keep in the fridge for a couple of days, but they really are best warm. So, and it's super, super simple. I know I tried a few little more complicated things over the holidays. Just not my thing, right? I just don't do complicated. So already I have actually preheated my oven to 350. Apparently I need to go back to bed today. And I've also put some parchment paper, love parchment, on my pan, so it's totally ready to go. And it's really not even that many ingredients for this. So I'm gonna start out with 1 egg. I'm also gonna do a 1/4 cup of sour cream. Now, my daughter made me buy light. Again, for me, I'm doing a little lower carb, a little higher fat, so I would be just fine with the fats from a regular fat sour cream, but we're going to do, I have all of them, yeah, there we go. You can see that I get a little lost with myself. I'm gonna do 1/4 cup of sour cream. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of fat-free. I know that was kind of a craze in the 90s, but I find it fascinating as I read that there was literally no science behind it, no research that actually supported low-fat, high-carb. So yeah, just know that that's the deal. So be careful when you do choose to do a little lower fat product. A lot of times they add sugars in order to balance the mouthfeel and the taste so that you like it. Because come on. Most people will not buy a product from a store that is processed if it doesn't taste or feel good in the mouth, right? That's how they do it, because they want you to buy the product. Come on, if Oreos were healthy, would you eat them? Well, if they tasted like they do, yeah, but if they did what it took to make them healthy, you wouldn't buy them. Okay, so I'm gonna add also a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. Now, that's all we buy at my house at this point. We don't do iodized, I will really pay attention even to my salt, because if you're not careful, they actually add sugar to the salt, which I find really fascinating. But again, still you'll buy more, right? Because it balances out the salt. Okay, so I'm gonna mix that up, and I'm just gonna start with my fork. Break up my egg. So I'm just kind of mixing that together. Again, these are super simple. I'm adding a couple more ingredients and throwing them in the oven. Okay, so almond flour. Now the cool thing about almond flour, I mean, all it is finely ground almonds, which again, a little bit better option. We use at this point a lot of almond flour and a lot of coconut flour in my household because I avoid as much gluten and bleached enriched white flour because it is really not really great for your microbiome. Okay, so I'm gonna throw 1 cup of almond flour. Cool thing is you can find this anywhere now. It used to be you had to go to the health food store, which not everybody had. I buy mine, well, this is from a local store called Yolks, but they actually, Walmart even carries it. So you have no excuses at this point. And if you can't find it there, go on Amazon, right? All right, so I'm actually gonna use a smaller measure scoop, but it's 1 cup of almond flour. Okay, and then we're gonna put a little bit of a leavening agent in it as well. So I'm just doing it so I don't make a big mess. So using a 1/4 scoop, a 1/4 cup scoop. There we go. And then I'm also gonna do 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, that's my leavening agent. Find my teaspoon. So apparently I don't have a teaspoon over here. That's okay, we make do. I'm using a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm adding 4. Okay. And then I'm actually gonna add a little bit of the garlic salt because it just tastes good. It's not required. You could even, I mean, come on, you could add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. It would taste amazing. Be creative. Okay, so I'm just gonna do probably, I'm gonna do like a 1/2 teaspoon in it, and then I'm actually gonna sprinkle a little bit on top when it's done baking. Now, my family likes to use, I can't believe it's not butter, spray. I've become kind of not a fan of I can't believe it's not butter. It does contain some hydrogenated fats, which I don't particularly care for. Not only that, but they are not healthy, right? The trans fats they've discovered are the problem. Healthy fats are not the problem. If you're eating things like avocado, coconut oil, those are not the issues, okay? The issues come down to when it is man-made and has a bunch of synthetic garbage and goes through a refining process. Okay, so I'm actually gonna just use my spoons, and I had another one. I lose things, can you tell? So I'm gonna scoop these. This makes about 6, okay? So you can actually scoop these onto your tray. Like I said, I'm gonna add just a little bit of butter and a little more of the garlic salt. And like I said, they turn out like this and they look absolutely amazing. So I'm just using 2 tablespoons to kind of portion this out to give myself a really good shape. Now don't pat them down. You don't want them to be flat, right? You want them to be biscuit style. Now I didn't get the chance to look yet, but one of my favorite foods, as a young adult was biscuits and gravy. Good hangover food, right? So after I'm done with this, I have decided I am going to look to see if I can't find a half decent version of gravy to put on these, because why not? Get some healthier biscuits, get some healthier gravy, and then once in a while I can still have a great option of something that I really enjoy, but isn't part of my regular macro or meal plan. Okay, so got 3 more to go here, but that's how they look. I'm gonna put them in the oven for 15 to 18 minutes. Like I said, they'll just start to brown a little bit on top. Now, because we're using a slightly different flour, the consistency is a little bit different. Know that all those healthier flours, because they're derived from different ingredients, are going to absorb liquids a little bit differently. So don't be surprised if the consistency is a little bit different than a regular biscuit. This isn't gonna look like what you get when you go to the restaurant and they've made fresh homemade sourdough biscuits. Although that sounds lovely, that can pack on the pounds. So, you just have to kind of decide what works best for you. We as a family have found our groove just a little bit. We know what we like that we can make a healthier version of. We know what we will save and wait for a planned, family-free meal. We've kind of gotten our groove. And it took a little while, guys. I've been working on this since I was 34, 35 years old. It took a couple of years for my family to jump on board. And now we're all kind of in the same boat where it makes us feel better if we're eating healthy. And it's kind of a challenge to find a healthier version of things. So you guys have an incredible weekend. Happy New Year. Hopefully you have some amazing things planned. January's kind of it's my birthday, so I kind of celebrate all month, but other than that, it gets a little miserable. So, find a way to make it exciting and new. Not a super fan of New Year's resolutions, but I am a fan of, looking forward with hope and really enjoying what's to come. So happy 2019, guys. Have an incredible day, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.